Good evening and welcome to the Ogden City Council meeting of May 23rd, 2017. Please note that all council members are present. With that, I'll turn the time over to Vice Chair Heyer to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, I have not asked yet, but Councilmember Blair, would you lead us in the pledge today?
I'd love to. Will the audience please rise? Yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please take a moment of silence with us. Thank you for that. Next on the agenda are some fun recognitions, and I'm going to turn the time over to Councilmember Garner.
Thank you. Okay. So tonight, the Ogden City Council and the Mayor proudly recognize the winners of the 3rd Annual Weber State University Linguist College of Arts and Humanities Spanish Spelling Bee and Language Talent Competition. And our first name is Lauren Cornell, an 8th grader at North Davis Preparatory Academy. She won 1st place. And Naraya Brotherson, a 7th grader at Highland Junior High School, won 2nd place. And Lily McPherson, a 5th grader at Canyon Creek Elementary, won 3rd place. These talented students, along with other elementary and junior high school students throughout the state, showcased their linguistic skills and demonstrated proficiency in Spanish vocabulary, literacy, and public speaking. We appreciate their incredible efforts to master the Spanish language and participate in events that promote bilingual education. Linguistic skills help promote cultural inclusivity and provide a strong foundation for future success. We welcome these students now, if they would, to come forward, accept their recognition, and take a picture with us. But we'd also like them to say a few words, and we would like Isabel Asensio from Weber State University Center for Community Engaged Learning to also join us.
Isabel.
What's your first name? Naraya. Naraya.
Felicidades, mija.
Congratulations. Yep.
Thank you. Okay. And we'll wait for her.
You wait for her? I know she's in Ogden, so she might take a minute.
Okay. Let's have you hold that for a moment.
Okay.
And we'll take pictures of the group. So is Lily?
Wait, should we wait?
Yeah.
Lily
We
McPherson.
started. Oh, shit, they're not here yet. But they were coming to run.
So if we can get the ones that are here to come over here, please.
So,
Perhaps we should wait for the rest of
Yeah, let's wait.
Wait.
Oh, we'll wait.
Let's wait.
And that we can wait a few minutes, and then what we'd like is for
Why don't we have them say
Yeah,
a
well,
few
what
words?
we'll do, if you can wait for that, we'll go to our next
Isabel,
agenda
we'll have
item
you
and
say
then
a few
back to you
words.
guys.
Okay, so we'll wait for the girls.
do you want to give to her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see that more than me?
Okay, thank you. We thought you were all here, so.
Well, we'll just hang tight with that. All right, well, let's move on to the reports from the Planning Commission regarding the residential vacation rental ordinance amendment.
Mr. Montgomery's the show tonight.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the council, this is a recommendation coming to you from the Planning Commission. It was not a petition, but it's an item that staff felt was needed to make some revisions for two reasons. One, as we went about looking at some of our very first vacation rental applications, noticing some concerns and maybe some clarifications that are needed to be made. The second being a recent state law revision that we needed to make to vacation rentals. Let me just kind of explain what's going on. First one deals with window sizes. The current code, and that's how we adopted it, says if you have a window that's at least a minimum 20 inches wide and 24 inches tall, and that opening is 5 square feet, that would meet the current building code. However, with many of the existing conditions in some of the older homes, they may meet those dimensions of 24 and, for example, 26 is a typical one we found, but that opening did not meet 5 square feet. It was less than 5 square feet. And our concern was, in some of these older homes, which are in the central area, which are also a historic area, if you start to alter those windows by making these dimension changes, you really change the character of the building. And the question is, does this really add to the safety of that bedroom? Because if this was a long-term sleeping situation, that bedroom, you're over there for more than 30 days, those windows would be okay. But the way we had written the vacation rental is they had to meet present code. And that means they would have to be updated, even though it's still a sleeping room. So as we met with the fire marshal and the building official and talked about this, the feeling was that the historic aspects and the safety would not be compromised if we amended the regulations and still said, okay, you can have those minimum dimensions the code says, but as long as that entire window, when you take out that center bar, is 5 square feet, then that still would meet the safety concerns. And that middle rail is easy to kick out in windows such as this and to get into. So the revision that the Planning Commission is talking about is to say, okay, if there's a 5 square foot of glazing and that you have the minimum dimensions of opening that the code has of 20 and 24, then that window should be acceptable. The second part is a clarification about fire extinguishers. Found that fire extinguishers were there, but they were either back behind some books or in a closet. And so it's to clarify that those fire extinguishers need to be hung on the wall so they're visible. And then, as I said, the next change was state law that said cities cannot use the internet advertising to enforce vacation rental use. And so basically we have to look at other means to try to enforce basically on complaints, things that are noticed, to determine there's a violation. We can't just use the internet as the means of saying, well, you're advertising, therefore you're in violation. So the proposal from the Planning Commission to you tonight is to consider these 3 changes: 1 with the window size, 2 with the fire extinguisher clarification, and 3 revising the conditions that state law now imposes on us about advertising, and that'd be a reason to note violation.
Can you speak to that a little more? What's the rationale behind that?
I think the rationale is this ended up being a compromise because it originally started out that cities couldn't regulate vacation rentals, period, and let it just be a free-for-all. This, I think, is the final approach to say at least here's something that the legislatures could agree on with the cities, and that's how it ended up being. So it's probably the best we could get out of that situation because we still need to be able to enforce those. There's still the safety issue. There's still the equal balance of transit room tax hotels versus vacation rentals. All those things are still factors that need to be out there, and then sense of community. And so this minor revision, we feel, is something that we can live with.
Sorry, I was actually asking about the last point about about the internet.
State.
That's what I explained.
Is that what you meant?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Because that's the compromise with how the bill first started to what it ended up being, of the city issues versus the lobbying issues.
Let me ask this question and follow up with it, because it says enforce vacation rental use, but can we use the internet to find out if they are operating and then say that they need a business license? I mean, so we're not really enforcing whether they can use
Well,
it
what
for...
we're clarifying is the fact that we cannot, in our present language, we said that by advertising itself would be a reason to give a citation. So we've changed that, saying, no, we can't do it by advertising, that can't be the sole source. But what we can do is look at a number of things to encourage compliance and licensing. But to say, okay, we've caught you there, and how did you find out? Well, we just drove by every night? No. You know, it's trying to make sure we've got a balance of how do we approach that. But it's still something you can look at and get an idea, but it can't be you can't hang everything based on that advertising.
We're not supposed to look at the internet to go find those who are vacation rentaling. That was the agreement, that was the law, that's the way the law was passed. And I don't think that they're going to go back from that one. So we can't go online to find out where the unlicensed vacation rentals are. We have to, so we're pretty well just waiting. If we hear complaints, then we go enforce by complaint is pretty much what we're doing now.
So is our way to enforce, is it just making sure they got the business license and that they're in compliance with all the other things?
Yeah, in order to get a business license, they have to be registered and pay TRT, hotel tax, with the state, and they would need to provide for us that they have registered with the state. But that's our enforcement really is, and that they're legal. So when they come in, we're verifying that they're legal.
Yeah, they still go through the inspections, they still have to meet the standards of the ordinance to be able to be licensed.
What ended up is much better than what was proposed.
Wow.
So
I'd like to go to the windows, and I think the items that were presented are very beneficial for vacation rentals, but the size of the windows does not apply to basement windows. Is that correct?
The modification does not apply, so a basement would still need to meet present building code, because most basements were never originally built as bedrooms. They would have had to meet code when they converted to a bedroom.
Questions? Crazy as it may seem.
I guess I do have one thing that kind of nags at me a little bit is, and maybe this is more for administration, the idea that I think to this point we've got 4 or 5 business licenses purchased.
Correct.
And I think we're pretty sure there's more than 4 or 5 operating. Do we have any kind of a policy or an expectation that are we trying to make sure that they do get licensed? Or are we just waiting for a complaint?
when we know about them and didn't discover it on the internet, then yes, we would probably invite them to come in and register. But we have to be really careful with the law and how we discover it. And we'd have a hard time proving to the state that we discovered it any other way besides the internet without a complaint from a citizen.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Need a motion?
I'll make a,
Madam Chair.
you gotta receive input on here.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe we should have input. Is there anybody here that wants to talk about the vacation rental ordinance amendment?
Okay, seeing no movement for input, I will make a motion that we adopt proposed ordinance 2017-24.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Councilmember Blair. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Blair.
Aye.
Councilmember Garner.
Aye.
Councilmember Lopez. Councilmember Nadolski.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer.
Aye.
Chair White.
That passes. All right, next on the agenda is the West Ogden Community Plan Amendment.
Chair White, I think all of our people are here now for the first recognition. If we,
Are we all here? Okay, yeah, let's bring them back up.
Okay.
So go ahead again.
we'll read this again, just for the benefit of everyone who's joined us. But the Ogden City Council and Mayor Michael P. Caldwell proudly recognize the winners of the 3rd Annual Weber State University Lindquist College of Arts and Humanities Spanish Spelling Bee and Language Talent Competition. Lauren Cornell, an 8th grader at North Davis Preparatory Academy, won first place. Nariah Brotherson, a 7th grader at Highland Junior High School, won second place. And Lily McPherson, a 5th grader at Canyon Creek Elementary, won third place. These talented students, along with other elementary and junior high school students throughout the state, showcased their linguistic skills and demonstrated proficiency in Spanish, vocabulary literacy, and public speaking. We appreciate their incredible efforts to master the Spanish language and participate in events that promote bilingual education, linguistic skills that help cultural inclusivity and provide a strong foundation for future success. We welcome these students now to come forward, accept their recognition. We'll take a picture with you as a group, and then we'll have you say a few words. And we also would like Isabel Asensio from Weber State's Center for Community Engaged Learning to also join us and say a few comments.
There you go, Marcia. You're Lauren? Highland?
Yes.
A good old Highland, huh?
Congratulations, Lauren.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. You want to shake our hands again?
No, you got it?
Then come this way over here, girls, right here in front of me.
You can bring your family up too.
Invite your family here.
And your instructors. Who's their main instructor? Okay.
Oh, Brittany, you're having competition today.
Okay. Trade places.
Where do we look?
I'm glad we waited.
Yeah.
All right.
Lily, don't go too far. We want each girl just to say a few things and
Who's
to
the first
the
place
instructor.
winner?
You can speak in Spanish if you want.
One of us will understand you.
Lauren, come on up and,
What would you like to hear?
what was your winning word?
I honestly don't even remember. I was so nervous and just so relieved that it was over.
What school
I
do you
don't
go to?
remember. I go to North Davis Preparatory Academy.
This is the 3rd one, right? The 3rd annual?
Yes.
Yes.
Did you do the other 2?
I did the one last year, but I was not old enough the year before, I don't think. Oh, yes, I was. I did not compete, though.
How did you do last year?
I won last year.
Oh, wow. Impressive.
Thank you.
Are you good in English spelling too?
Well, I'd sure hope so.
Well, congratulations. Thank you. All right, who's the second place winner?
What did they get if they win? What did they get for winning?
I don't know.
You remember your word? The winning word?
I got second place. It was fun.
One that got you second place.
What was the word you had to spell?
Oh, actually, never mind. Sorry. I can't remember.
That's okay.
What was the hardest word you had to spell for the spelling bee?
I don't know. The bigger ones were a lot harder. They got a lot longer, and the accents were hard to remember.
So can you make a mistake on one of the words and still compete?
Well, we can make a few mistakes, but not too many. I made a few, but I still made it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah, come on up.
Was this your first year?
I did the spelling bee last year and I won for my class, but unfortunately I wasn't able to go to the district because I went on a vacation. So someone took my place. But yeah, I did it last year.
And what school are you from?
I go to Canyon Creek Elementary
Can you spell a word for us?
in Spanish.
Agua.
Agua. A-G-U-A. Agua.
Very good. Very good.
What, do you remember the word you had to spell? Do you remember your hardest word you had to spell?
Probably rayador, because there's two different kinds, so I didn't know which one to spell.
Is that with a double L or with a Y?
There's one with a Y and a double L, so.
Okay.
Okay. Question.
Yeah.
How do you spell it, Liz?
Thank you. That's enough.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for coming up here, too. Yeah.
So that's when they need to ask for a definition so that they know which word it is. So to answer your question, they can make a few mistakes in the first two rounds. But then in the third round, if they make a mistake, they are disqualified. But thank you so much for doing this recognition for the students and also for the teachers. Some of them are here. They worked really hard during the academic year, helping the students study. I usually give them the list in September, and they get to practice until April when the contest is. And this year we started a new category, which is role play. And we had 11 groups from 6 different schools participating in the role play. And it was quite a success. Some other students are already asking me for some sample situations so that they can start practicing for next year. And hopefully my idea is that Utah becomes part of the participating schools in the national contest. There's actually a national Spanish spelling bee celebrated every summer in New Mexico. And a few southwestern states are part of that contest, but not Utah. So maybe the winner can participate in the national one. So, do you guys have any questions?
Unless she's on vacation.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is that it's around the spring break time, but Weber State classes end a few weeks after, so we need to do it while Weber State is in progress. So.
Great.
Well, I hope we can make this a tradition and have you guys back next year.
Yes.
The winners
yeah.
again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Neraya won last year 3rd place, this year 2nd place. So maybe next year she'll win 1st place.
and I'll prepare this time in case they ask me again.
You might want to get the list tomorrow.
Yeah, there are over 1,000 words to study. So, and they get the list alphabetically organized, but then I randomize the lists in case they have memorized them, and then they get to.
Did you make that rule of 1,000 words?
No, I use the list that the national contest uses every summer. So the list that will come up this July, I will use it for next April. Mm-hmm. So it would be kind of a pain in the neck to come up with 1,000 words. Oh.
Do their classmates go and watch them participate?
Some of them, but since it's a school day, so they don't get to, unless their parents let them skip class. But the teachers come, and everybody who represents the school come, and the parents come, and they're very competitive, let me tell you. Yes, some parents have come to me and say, but I don't think they misspell 3 words, because that's the limit in the first round. They have 10 words, and they have to spell correctly 8. So it's not easy.
Are most of these kids, is Spanish their first language or their second?
Their second, yes.
Have to be their second in order to compete, or?
No. We don't have that rule, because, well, if the contest was in English, any immigrant or person who learned English as a second language, it would be their second language. So
right.
It's just in Spanish, and anyone is welcome to participate, no matter if it's your first, second, or third language. So most of the schools that participate are dual language immersion schools, though.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
The 1,000 words, do they have to know the definitions of all those words too?
No, they don't, but we encourage them to ask for the definition there the day of the competition, because it really helps for words like rayador. It could so.
Very good.
What did they win? What did they win?
Oh, yes. So thanks to sponsors, we have different prizes. They get a cash prize, $150 for the first place, $100 for the second, and $750? $50 for the third. And the signpost sponsors those awards. That's the newspaper of Weber State. And then every year we have different sponsors. This year we had Lupec as one of our major sponsors, and thanks to them we also gave the winners Spanish dictionary by La Real Academia Española, which is the authority in the Spanish language. So now, dictionaries, and last year we gave copies of Don Quixote, because it was the 4th anniversary of the death of author Cervantes. And then another big sponsor is Santillana, which is a publishing house, and they donate lots of books in Spanish, and we do an opportunity drawing at the end of the contest as a consolation prize, because they're tears that day. So.
Can you briefly talk about the project you're working on for the day of service with Lupec?
Yes. Well, so there are different days of service here in Ogden. Some of them are sponsored by Weber State, and so we thought, well, why not having one day of service named after a Hispanic activist? And we thought of Dolores Huertas. Day of service, and Lupec is helping bring this to happen. We just had a meeting a few days ago, and we're going to start working on this so that we can have Martin Luther King Day of Service, but also Dolores Huerta Day of Service to educate people and bring awareness of activists, Hispanic activists. So. Thank you. And again, I want to thank the teachers, because they are overworked, but they still find the time to help the students practice and study for this. And
Can they stand so we can recognize them, the teachers, please? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The lone
Thank you so
teacher was
much.
over there. I don't know if you got him.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Very proud of you girls. Thank you.
Yeah. Great job.
All right. You can leave, yes?
Thank you.
Unless you want to listen to more stuff. All right, Greg, if you want to come back up, or is that fine?
So Greg, what word did you want to spell?
Who found it?
Definition, please.
Yeah.
Let's see. So this next item is actually two parts, and I'd like to present maybe both and then have you consider, as we talked in the work session, then voting on them separately. And the reason there are two parts is because in the petition to rezone it, it also requires a consideration, is this consistent with the community plan or the general plan? In this case, the petition was not, so in order to act on the petition, you first have to look at, should we amend the community plan? So I'll present first the request to amend the community plan, and this is in West Ogden. The West Ogden plan was adopted in 2014, and it had several key objectives. One was to improve the perception of the land use in the area. Two was improve the design of residential development in the area. Three was increase and properly locate commercial development. And then four was to reduce the amount of manufacturing. Those are some key elements that came about because of the West Ogden Community Plan in 2014. So in the community plan, there's two things. There's a vision map, and there's also the text. And those vision strategies help define how the plan should be implemented. As I mentioned, the map is also part of that. And in this case, if you look at that map, you'll see kind of in the left-hand side, kind of a pinkish, light pink color and a purple color. That pinkish color was the idea of having neighborhood commercial type activities take place. But the plan language said that that would take place only when a full interchange took place in West Ogden on 24th Street. Well, in this consideration, they want to rezone a piece of property that is in that area, but it is not, a full interchange has not been developed, nor was the request for the type of zoning, C3, consistent with the neighborhood character. So then the discussion took place, should the plan be amended? And the Plan Commission discussed that. With that limiting of C1, and you can see in this picture there, the black rectangle, that is the property in question. So you can see how it's kind of outlined in the center of those commercial area. The Commission looked at it and said, the language is specific, so with that map, with that location, and with that language, in order for us to act, we need to amend the plan. So they discussed what has taken place, what has changed in this area. One of the things that was never discussed in the community plan was really existing businesses expanding, and this petition was based on a business expansion. Being consistent with the objectives, property locating commercial and controlling the types of uses was what the neighborhood commercial was all about. If that could still be achieved, that would be consistent with the objectives. And if we could look at language to clarify something that was not considered, of the fact that a lot of the manufacturing is not going to move, how do you buffer that to make it appropriate to have the other uses take place? They'll be desirable. So based on those considerations, the Planning Commission felt that it would be appropriate to make an amendment to create a buffer area around the M1 area and let that buffer area be done as a conditional overlay zone, so you can set the standards of size, of types of uses, and design characteristics that would still meet the overall intent of the West Ogden Community Plan. And so the recommendation was to amend the community plan to look at language that would say in the plan itself that we would consider conditional overlay zoning of C3, but with conditions of design criteria of no outdoor storage, building square footage no more than 20,000 square feet, and this could be used as a buffer between manufacturing and commercial prior to a full interchange taking place. So with that plan amendment language, as I explained, the Commission recommended that to you on a 6-0 vote. That then allowed the Commission to also take a look at the specific request to petition property at 822 to 848 West 27th Street. That property is as shown in that red box. There's a home there now, and the rest of it is vacant property. The proposal, as you see to the right, is to make a commercial building that could be an expansion of the facility that Mr. Kitchen owns that's to the south, across the street from here, and also some space that could be used for specific types of retail uses that don't require a high traffic demand. Because this area really is kind of at a dead end. There's no circulation going east or west or south. And so it really would not generate the type of traffic needed for most commercial, but for warehousing and other types of light commercial connect as a buffer, this would be a perfect location. So this kind of gives you an indication of what the site looks like now and what the proposal would look like. So the commission first again considered, is it consistent with the amended West Ogden Community Plan? They again looked at those same things I talked about earlier. And then consider, okay, is this complying with zoning principles of establishing definite edges, being that transition from commercial to manufacturing to residential? And does this also comply with not dividing parcels by zone boundaries? And also, does it set and create a buffer and edge? Now, there was a point of conflict in that it's not located on a commercial or collector street, and it is adjacent to residential. But as the Planning Commission looked at the overall factors, they felt the pros outweighed the cons for this. And then, because it's recommended as a conditional overlay, there's a second part that says, if it were not for this specific project, we wouldn't be looking at rezoning. And that development agreement then states specifically what could happen here. So it limits that there's no outdoor storage. It limits the size of the buildings, again, consistent with the plan. It also limits the types of uses. So not all C3 uses could be allowed here, but only those that are in development agreement. And then it also sets controls on the height of the building, the materials the building uses for its exterior, and being able to control lighting and other things so there's not an impact to residential areas. So again, here's the concept that's then contained in the development agreement of the building layout and kind of the character of the building that would be proposed to be built in that area. With that separate item, the Planning Commission recommended approval also of rezoning those specific properties to the C3 conditional overlay zone with that development agreement, as I've mentioned, with those details in it.
Some of the comments from the citizens say this would introduce too much commercial into that area. Does this plan still protect the residents in West Ogden?
As the Planning Commission looked at it and staff looked at it, we felt it did, because you look at what is to the south, it is mainly industrial uses. To the east is the Cargill with the truck traffic. This would not introduce any additional traffic than what generally is happening there now. And it would be on the same routes as those heavy trucks that come in. And it's not a high demand commercial use. It's more a site-specific storage, warehousing, and maybe some light uses that don't really demand a lot of traffic to them. So the Commission feels that this actually acts as a better buffer by building a building like this, rather than just leaving it open to the noise and vibrations that take place in the mill, and the trucks and the train and those other things, and the freeway noise. So really, I mean, it's not that, it wouldn't create much of an impact from what is there now.
This business versus some of those other businesses is basically a 9-to-5 type business.
Correct.
Whereas some of the others are
24 hours. Yeah.
If 24th Street were a full interchange, how would you look at this differently?
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why the Planning Commission felt a plan amendment would be appropriate, is because this is so away from what the impact of the interchange would do to general businesses in that location. That's why they felt this would be okay to do, because it's a buffering type use. It's not a traffic demand use. And so if the interchange took place, this probably still will not have a demand for that commercial type activity because of its isolation.
So, R15 would, you could put an apartment building up there, correct?
No, just single family home.
Just.
Yeah. 5,000 square foot lot, yeah.
As I looked at the building, it seems like the expansion would improve the area where he's contemplating expanding into.
Yeah,
that
and
area.
and again, that's one of the reasons why that conditional overlay is, because that specific design and those things were felt to be an improvement.
Yeah.
The questions?
Any more questions? All right. Yeah, before we go on, is the petitioner here? Wanna
If
come up
you'd
and-
like to speak, you're welcome to.
Questions for the petitioner up here? Okay. All right. We're going to receive public input. Is there anyone here that would like to talk about this plan in general? So, yes, come on up, please.
My name is June Henson, and we live right there between the canine kennel store that he has. And they're very quiet. They're done usually by 4 p.m. Every day. In fact, they don't even open up on Saturday or Sunday. The majority of the time, we don't even know they're there. I mean, we know they're there, but we don't hear them because they're not making a bunch of noise and stuff. And I think that with the building he's talking about and stuff, it'll give him more room, because right now he's having to use the street to while he's waiting for the trucks to come and pick up the kennels and stuff. And this will help him to be able to have some room off of the street where he can have this stuff ready to go when his trucks come in. They get it on the truck, and then it takes off. So the only traffic that would be there is what he's already got going. I'm there all the time, and so I see what's going on. And I don't see where there's a big problem with him having that there. I think it'd be a great idea, because it will help to kind of clean up the street and stuff that's there. So that's just my thought on it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And it's very important for us to hear from the residents too, so thank you.
Are you going to speak on this project itself? Okay, please come up. Correct. We did that at public comment. No, we would do that at public comment.
Virginia Hernandez-Reza, and I am representing Ogdenites in Search of Information Group. We were well established in 2005, but the Obama administration decided to take away our nonprofit status, so we're back to and it was no fault of ours, so we're back to getting that, and that was a fight. I want to discuss West Ogden. Grew up in Rees Avenue, but know very well West Ogden. It used to be a cute little community, but now as time has gone, it has been ran down. I'm very surprised Jesse Garcia didn't do his job living there and representing his constituents in, but it is ran down. But I would like to ask all of you city council members have to vote on this issue, whatever's happening. We're in the dark. We don't know what's happening here, as usual, what the city council is doing, because our representatives do not go out to their constituents and get meetings or meet with them directly, which what we're going to be pushing now. Because the constituents all over Ogden are don't know what's going on. They have no opportunity to come to these kind of meetings. I know that as my group, when we were a nonprofit, we did our own work with the city councils during that time. I'm addressing all of you, city council, because you're all vote. I know but I'll put that to the side. Let me just say about West Ogden. I still know a lot of people, Hispanic, not Latinos, immigrants, but Hispanics. They're still there. There's just very few. Well, there's enough. They have property. I want to ask all of you, have you made an effort, especially Neil, who is their city councilman, and also all of you, Luis Lopez, being a Latino, have you made an effort to go and talk or reach or get a meeting to let them know what's happening in their part of town? They've lived it there. This is second, third generation. You're going to say you do know that, but I don't see them here. And they would be involved. I know the Fragas, I know the Hernandezes, all the Hispanics. There's more. There's the Montoyas. There's just a whole bunch. So that's my question to you and the rest of you. Before you pass these major for the benefit of the corporations or the rich guy for this community, which was really acute, get involved with them, because that is going to be our strategy from here on with Ogdenites in Search of Information to get these communities informed. We used to do it, since our representatives don't. So I don't mean to do this to you, and I don't know when the mayor comes in. Actually, he can't. He's the one that brings these proposals and these great ideas, but I think it should be you guys who we vote. Get out there. I was at this business meeting, and whoa, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Mr. Montgomery, if you just address that really quick, and please let us know if you noticed the residents out there.
So with the community plan amendment, we did notice an area was probably about 800-foot radius, plus all those who are involved in steering committees for the West Ogden Community Plan. So we did invite them to the meetings to give comments and to give us their thoughts of the plan amendment. And then on the rezoning part, then we noticed by policy everyone within 300 feet of the rezoning.
Great. Thank you. And thank you. I think all of us are getting those notices as well, so thank you. Any other input? All right.
Okay, Madam Chair, if you're ready for a motion?
Yeah. Yes, please.
I would make a motion then that we adopt proposed ordinance 2017-25.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Councilmember Blair on proposed ordinance 2017-25. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Garner.
Aye.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Nadolski.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Councilmember Blair.
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer.
Aye.
Chair White.
Aye. That passes.
And concerning proposed ordinance 2017-26, I move that we adopt that ordinance as well.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Councilmember Nadolski regarding proposed ordinance 2017-26. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Nadolski.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Councilmember Blair.
Aye.
Councilmember Garner.
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer.
Aye.
Chair White.
Aye. That passes.
I think it's well to point out that Mr. Kitchen's project will actually benefit West Ogden because we had a resident come in and says that they could hardly hear them there, but I think it's a plus for that community that someone wants to expand their businesses, and I think it will improve greatly the business, and we're improving the area where he's at, and so it will upgrade the entire community, so I think it's a benefit to that aspect.
Along with what Mr. Montgomery said too, we do have a West Ogden group that is very active, and when we had our community meeting, it was one of the largest groups that we've had in a long time for some of the community meetings. So they're very engaged in their community, and I appreciate Virginia's comments, and I do have several of the citizens of West Ogden that talk to me on a frequent basis.
Right. On to public comments. This is an opportunity to address the council regarding any concerns or ideas on any topic. You have 3 minutes. Welcome back.
Virginia Hernandez Reza, member of the Ogden Nights in Search of Information group, and I live at 2427 Jefferson Avenue, Ogden. I'm here today, and I appreciate that we citizens, or whoever wants to speak, can make our comments and our facts. We don't have enough time, okay? So I can't go into detail. But I am so disappointed, again, as I look over here, where are the people I interact with? And believe me, I interact with my group, West Ogden, on the bus, everywhere, the poor, the rich, whatever. Why aren't they here? Because they don't know. But anyway, forget that. I am here because I guess it ties into what this wonderful presentation you all decide to give to these wonderful people for the Spanish-speaking whatever from Weber State University and Lubeck. All right, that ties into what our concerns is. First of all, this so-called resolution that was passed May, just recently, 16th, for the immigrant, whatever, population, and I'm reading it. This is the first time we've ever had the opportunity to read this so-called resolution, and I'm telling you, our group, once they get it in their hands from a friendly person like myself, they're not going to like this, because every time you guys pass these so-called resolution, Latinos, for immigrants, where are we? We are considered the forgotten community. It began with Bill Cook, okay? All of you know, let me go back further there. In that 2000, it took us from 2000 to 2005, I have to hurry, to get all this going, to get together and to say, you're not going to treat our community, the forgotten community, born and reared here, Hispanic, whatever you want to call us, and we got on the ball. And we came in 2005 and we presented our concerns to the mayor and the city council. And it's on record. And this is what we're going to use now to show how we have been forgotten. So then there's that. And then we come again to 2005, because we started at 2000, then we get 2005. 2005, that's when I made this statement for the group of people here, to the mayor and to the city council people. I will send you all a copy. So from that time, we have slowly, let's see how this is going to, and 2008, there was a crisis. The 2008 mortgage crisis. Guess what, guys? It was here in Ogden. All of you know that. And guess who was profiting and benefiting, which we got it on record. We got attorneys to show that. It was the illegal population that got homes, businesses through our money, grants, and it's all documented. We have it. Okay, what happened to us? The Hispanic and Mexican American. But I'm going to email all of you and let you know our next steps, because there's just no time. Maybe that's why nobody comes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Virginia. Anybody else? No? All right. Moving on to comments from the mayor.
Really quickly, I'd just like to give a huge thank you to all the volunteers that were downtown this weekend for the marathon. It takes about 1,500 people to show up at 3 in the morning and be willing to stand out there all day. It's a phenomenal effort. Also want to thank the police and the fire and public works. They put a ton into that as well behind the scenes. They did a great job. And at long last, Jay's taking credit for the good weather, which was long overdue. So Jay, we appreciate you calling that out and pulling that out of the Farmer's Almanac. So that's that. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Council members.
The mayor's walk was great, too.
Yeah.
I was happy that the Gold Foundation introduced the Sunrise Canyon bike ride to this year's. Some of my family members participated. I was signed up but couldn't go, but they said that was the most magnificent thing they've done in a long time, is to ride their bike down the canyon at sunrise with no car competition. And I just think that the Gold Foundation is really a great amenity for Ogden City, and I just appreciate all those who volunteered and those who didn't volunteer but just participated. Was that organized this thing. It's a wonderful thing. I also got to say, though, I think in light of Virginia's comments, there is an immense amount of energy put forth to outreach for these things, and I can't think that we could do any better unless we drive to people's house and get them and bring them to things, because I just don't think we can do any better than that, Virginia. I think nobody is intending to forget anybody. Nobody's intending to leave anybody outside the table. That's something that has been evident from this council and for the last few years, that we really want to have people feel included. And I hate to see you disparage reputations of people who are trying their very best.
Just want to say, along with the mayor, thank you for everyone who helped with the events this weekend. It was a great part to be a volunteer and to share that with my fellow council members that were there with me and by my side. And
We had a few handoffs, didn't we?
and it's very rewarding and very just amazing to me that some of these people, some have severe physical disabilities, some have other challenges, but they take upon themselves to make this an effort to, some of them are just doing a 5K or the mayor's walk or, the whole marathon, but to be there and to see their achievements is very rewarding to be a part of that.
Yeah, and Doug also had a good prediction for the weather too, so.
Yep.
I also like to comment just along the lines of my colleague, Councilman Heyer, regarding your comments, Virginia. I just want to make for the record that you know that I've met with you about 2 or 3 times, and I've offered my assistance, and you suggested that you wanted to try to get a meeting together for me to go speak to some of your constituents or the people that you know, and that's never happened. And no, that's okay. I'm just letting you know that I'm making an effort, and also on behalf of our council, to reach out to the community. And I'm happy to meet with you again whenever you're ready. Thank you.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Soraya Long. She took first place.
Oh, yeah.
Local Weber State alum, took first place in the marathon. And on Sunday, I was feeling her pain, having personally participated in the Kids Gay, and set a personal record. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw you cheering them all the way there, so that was
Right,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, and I also want to say one of the new things, and for the record too, that is that our website is phenomenal, and that you can get around it pretty easily and find the agenda for next week. And so those are always good places to look for upcoming, and what we're talking about, upcoming events. So I appreciate that. Any other comments?
And the meetings are live.
Yeah, oh, yeah, with our live stream now. Did you know that? You can get them on the internet. All right.
Motion to adjourn?
All right.
Second.
Motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Councilmember Nadolski. All in favor?
Aye.
We're out of here. Oh, any opposed? We're out of here.
Or not.
Or not, exactly. We'll be going back into
Absolutely.
our work session right now.